Yo, what's up, everybody? Dave Dombrowski is in a lose-lose situation at this point. Whether he makes a trade or not, somebody's going to be unhappy. Eagles training camp, Jalen Reagor, stay off your phone. Dan Sileo, 2-4, I'm calling you out. All this and more on Trending in the AM. Yo, we'll be live in 30 seconds.
Gets around in front. And Philadelphia has it.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Phil Stifle here from Trending in the AM. We're live. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow. All social media platforms. We greatly appreciate that. The best way to get involved with the show this morning is over on the YouTube page. So if you want to get interactive with us today, head over to the DSM Media YouTube page and make sure you hit the like and subscribe button while you're there. We got lots to talk about. We are down to the wire. What is it? 8:30. So that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are 9.5 hours away from the Major League Baseball trade deadline. A lot of moves have already gone down. So Dave Dombrowski's up against the wall. A lot of names off the board already, so we're going to dive into everything that's happened so far in the Major League Baseball trade deadline and what the Phillies can or cannot do. We're going to talk Eagles training camp as always every single day this month as we get closer to the season. I am Phil Stifle, like I said. This is Dylan Davis right here next to me. Dylan JD98. Good morning, Dylan. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm good, Phil. Waiting to see what Dave has up his sleeve. I'm sure we're going to get a few angry comments today, but hopefully everyone can relax. For whatever reason, the Phillies always seem to make a deal around like 3:30, 3:45.
Today's 6 p.m. deadline.
So there we go. Well, maybe it's 5:30, 5:45.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be at dinner time when the moves are finally going down. Look, it's funny because, we've been talking about trades with the Eagles and the Phillies. It's like, no matter what we do as an organization or what they do as an organization, somebody's not going to be happy. Mm-hmm. And you look at across the board in baseball, Frankie Montas, Hader, Castillo, there are names that are being moved. And I kind of feel like Dave Dombrowski is in a lose-lose situation. Dave Dombrowski was brought here, and everyone's like, oh, our farm system is going to be decimated because that's what Dave Dombrowski does. Every place, his MO is trade everybody, bring in the established stars. But now everybody's like, don't trade anybody. And the problem is you got to trade somebody to get somebody. And it's like he's in a lose-lose situation right now because no matter what move he does, people are going to look at it and be like, well, he made a mistake. So is he in a lose-lose situation, Dylan? Or, do people just have to accept the fact that our farm system isn't great, so it's kind of hamstringing what he can do and can't do at this point?
Well, it's a hell of a concept, isn't it? You got to get to give, Phil, in major sports. And it's something that fans just tend to forget from time to time. Like, they just think you could – any move they see. Josh Hader, why didn't we do that?
Yeah, well, exactly.
They probably weren't interested in what we had to offer. Okay. Now I do think Dombrowski went a little far. I get it. He doesn't want to kill this farm system because there's not much of a farm system set up down there for the Phillies right now. I get trying to protect your top three or so. Even your top four. The fifth, sixth guy he threw out in his list of prospects he was unwilling to move, that got a little weird to me. That part didn't make sense. Yeah, that part didn't make sense to me, but whatever. I don't think he's in a lose-lose situation, though, because I do think there is a decent amount of the fan base that will be okay if he goes out and grabs a Noah Syndergaard or a Tyler. Is it Maley from the Reds today?
Maley.
The Phillies and Twins are linked to him. If he goes out and does something like that, I think they'll be okay because I know you're on the other side of this argument where it's not like trading for an MVP and bringing back Gene Segura. I'm not saying it's like trading for them, but this lineup's going to look a hell of a lot different when they come back. You go bolster the starting pitching. The bullpen has seemed to figure it out. You got your closer in Sir Anthony now. If you don't go out and get a center fielder, to me at this point, whatever, you just need to roll with what you have in Vierling, Cito Duble out. I think he's okay if he goes out and gets one of those pitchers. Now, if he goes out and grabs a pitcher that nobody was expecting And I don't mean in a good way. I mean in like really like, okay, now we have our 5th starter. Then I think he kind of sat on his hands. But I said to you before the show, it's weird to me. This is a very weird deadline to me where it doesn't feel like they're overly active, where in the past 3 years since acquiring Bryce Harper, they've been buyers at the trade deadline when they've been in far worse positions at this point of the year. They're a playoff team at the moment. They're not half a game out, 1.5 games out. They're a playoff team. So how would you at this deadline just sit on your hands?
I think that's a good segue because I kind of feel like they're in a no man's land type of spot. They're a playoff team as of this moment. They got a 1 game. I don't know if did the Cardinals play last night. I don't even know if they did. Are they still 1 game up on the Cardinals?
Let me check for you real quick.
Anyway, they're in the playoffs at this moment. Okay, but they don't feel like they have a chance to really compete with the Braves, the Mets, the Dodgers. So the fact that we have 5 prospects right now that he's saying are untouchable, 2 or 3 of those prospects would be not in the top 5 of most other teams' organizations.
Right.
That's how weak we are. But we're not going to really, truly compete with the top dogs. So do you waste those trade chips right now to maybe get into the second round, maybe to win 1 playoff game? Do you waste those trade chips now, or do you save them for the offseason? Because look, if you trade for Noah Syndergaard, and he's been him and Quintana, who Quintana got traded yesterday, they were my top guys because I didn't think we would trade enough to get the Montas or the Castillo, the controllable players. And Tyler Malley, whatever his name is, he is also controllable. So he might cost a smidge more. He's not at the Montas level. But if you don't want to trade the assets to get a controllable player, then, the Syndergaards and stuff like that, that's a really good move. But does he really want to commit even the assets to that when next year, I don't know if you looked at it, this upcoming offseason, the free agent pitching market is barren. It's really bad. Noah Syndergaard and Quintana may actually be the top 2 free agent starting pitchers on the market next year. It's not a good looking market. So you're probably going to have to trade for a starting pitcher in the offseason. I don't know who the big names will be that are on the trade block. Look, I saw somebody, Carlos Rodon, now might be on the market. He's signed through next year. You need these. You're going to have to retool this entire roster next year. Yes, you got money coming off the books, but there are no pitchers available. You're going to need O'Hoppe to trade for that next big pitcher. You're going to need one of these guys to make the move. And I kind of feel like he's being cautious because he sees, look, we're not going to beat the Dodgers in a 7-game series. We're not going to beat the Braves in a 7-game series. So why waste our best prospects, who might not be the best prospects on other teams? Why waste them now when the best it's going to do is just a slight move of the needle?
So, listen, this is not me being Mr. Positive, overconfident for no reason. My thing with baseball specifically is it's such a momentum sport, specifically come October. And I think if you just get there, you have a chance. And like I said, it's not even just you're right. They're not really contending with the Mets, with the Dodgers. I get all that. The point is, this city hasn't made the playoffs in a decade. Absolutely. This organization hasn't made the playoffs in a decade. It's a disservice to not go and try and at least get to the dance, right? But you're right. At this point, 8 hours to go, whatever it is until the deadline hits. He's not moving O'Hoppe. He's not moving a Bell. He's not moving any of these guys, right? You don't need to go out and acquire what's left, the Tyler Malley, the Noah Syndergaard, whatever, right? So I'm confident in that regard. My only thing about being Mr. Positive is, like I said, you don't know what happens. Phillies are 5-5 against the Braves this year with a 2-game set coming up.
Right.
The Phillies won the season series over the Dodgers. The Phillies, I think, have already won the season series over the Brewers. They won the season series over the Cardinals. They, I think, are leading the Padres, or maybe they're down a game on the series with the Padres. So I get it. It's different. It's totally different in a 7-game set playoff atmosphere experience. The only team they've had a bad time with this year has been the Mets. So I think it's a disservice to wrap up my whole confidence spiel It's a disservice to not at least try and get there. Getting Bryce back, he had the pins removed yesterday. That's a great sign. Gene's already started his rehab assignment. He's on his way back. Castellanos just had his best day as a fight in the other day, right?
Mr. Positivity here.
Oh, yeah. It's a disservice not to go do something.
Mr. Positivity, and I get what you're saying. And I'm not going to say the guy's name because he's always super negative on Phillies Twitter. But he put out a tweet, I don't know if it's last night, this morning, I saw it this morning, that he thinks that if Phillies make no moves, the morale in the clubhouse will actually go down because this team knows they're close and the players know that they're missing. The players know Bradley Falter can't, Bradley Falter.
I think that's a fair point.
All the time. Do you think that it really affects team morale if the team knows they're close? They don't make a move. So you think that's a point? I was going to go in the other direction where maybe they'll be like, all right, we got this.
No,
what I mean? So we're confident in ourselves. The front office couldn't make a move, but the front office is confident enough that we can at least break this 11 years playoff drought. So do you think that it could be a morale, booster or morale dropper?
I think it's a very thin line, and I like the point you brought up, and I kind of agree with the back end of his tweet where you had the one side where they're close, they know they're close,
right?
And like you look at the Yankees, what they just did, they have to be feeling great right now at the reinforcements they're bringing in, right?
And what was the
bullpen help, Efros and Trevino, like they went out, they had to be feeling great right now. So yeah, I'm sure if you're a Phillies team that you're on the fringe of finally getting into the playoffs, you're like, you kind of know you need something. They're not just, numb to it, that they hear everything, they see what goes on. But you have the opposite side of the line where they're confident in themselves and in their teammates, I'm sure. So they're not heading into the deadline begging for Dombrowski to go do something. But think about the offseason. Now, I know the offseason is different than the deadline, Phil. But think about what Bryce was doing in the offseason. Pushing for Nick Castellanos, pushing for Kyle Schwarber. Why? Because he knew they were lacking some pieces. So you have to think they still know they might be lacking right here with a Bailey Falter starter. They might be lacking in center field. But at the end of the day, they're confident in themselves and their teammates. And if they don't make a move, you're right. They're probably like, okay, F it. Let's go win ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I got to ask, with all these trades, and I still think Noah Syndergaard will be a Philly by 6:00 today.
Really?
I'm setting myself up to be disappointed, but I've been saying it for a while since I even realized he was available. Honestly, there's a point where I didn't even know he was pitching 2-3 months ago. I don't watch the LA Angels. I mean, Ohtani does not make. I mean, I love Ohtani. I love him in red pinstripes, but which he is off the market, by the way. I heard the White Sox made a pretty significant offer for him, but it didn't happen. I don't watch the Angels. So I didn't even know he was pitching well this year for them. But the more and more I think about it, I think it's a really smart move. I really think the moves could be done already. If it wasn't, I think probably what it comes down to is the fact that he's making $21 million this year. And it's how much do the Phillies pay versus what prospects they have to give up. How much do the Angels eat of that contract versus what prospects they have to give up. And I really am confident there. But anyway, we keep talking about the Phillies prospects and how he mentioned the fifth prospect he doesn't want to trade. I didn't even know who that guy was. Everybody's excited about the kid that they promoted to Reading Double-A, from Single A. I didn't know who he was. These guys are not good. How do these teams, the Astros, the Dodgers, who have been relatively quiet so far this deadline, the Yankees, the Braves, they make trades year in and year out, nonstop, and they never run out of prospects. What the hell is the problem with the Phillies that we don't have prospects and we haven't made really a trade in like a real trade in a half a decade, yet these teams have prospects just constantly. It's like they got to farm them, they're just growing them, and they're always there. The Yankees traded how many guys yesterday? And in the last week, and they haven't even touched their top 5 prospects.
Yeah, they've had to have given up 7 prospects, 6 prospects.
It's insane to me.
Real quick, not to get off that conversation, but from Jason Stark 10 minutes ago, Philly scouted Marco Gonzalez's start in New York last night, but no sign of apparent traction with the Mariners, sources tell me and Mac Elb. A clear sign Phillies are trying different ideas as starting pitchers go off the board. Syndergaard still believed to be their top of their shopping list.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
so I think that just reinforces the idea.
That they've already scouted Syndergaard at least once. I think I saw a rumor that it might have been 2 starts that they've gone and started. He's actually trending in the right direction, Syndergaard.
So,
his last starts have been getting better.
Is Syndergaard higher on your list than Malley? Like, I know He's going to cost a bit more, but
I don't know. See, here's the thing. Malley, I don't think Malley has a great track. Like, Malley's a good pitcher. Malley would be like an upgrade over Eflin or Ranger Suarez. Malley, I don't think gives you that confidence to slot in the 3 spot in your rotation. You make the playoffs. He's going to have to start your 3rd playoff game. I don't think there's that much of a difference. He's more on that Kyle Gibson level to me than, something like than the Frankie Montas or the Castillos.
Yeah.
Noah Syndergaard, there is a much lower floor. I mean, he's not been healthy for a long time, but there was a point where he was a stud pitcher and young pitcher. I think the thing with Syndergaard is he could come here and just completely bomb at the end of the year. He really could. But Syndergaard also could come in here and pitch like an ace for 2 months. I think the ceiling to floor is much bigger with Syndergaard. And that's why I probably take the risk on Syndergaard over Malley, just because, man, could you imagine if he starts hanging out with his old buddy, Zach Wheeler and, Thor and Captain America or whoever Zach Wheeler was of the Avengers. They had a whole Avengers crew up there in New York there for a little while. I think the risk reward on Syndergaard is much better than what you're getting with Malley.
He's got a 4.4 at the moment, but he has been pitching a lot better heading towards the deadline.
I looked at it before the show started. Look at his entire career. He's not you've never seen him have like
he's right around a 4 ERA for the most part.
Syndergaard has
3.83
borderline Cy Young at points in his career.
He's got 3.83s, 5-8 on the year and 15 games started. But that's with the Angels.
They both
that's true. I think a lot more attention just gets put on the Angels because you always see the tweet of Ohtani and Trout homered to combine for 6 RBIs. Angels still lost. He's 3.83 compared to a 4.40. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Like I said, I think that Jason Stark tweet just reinforces the idea that they're going to do so. Like, it's not like Dombrowski and the Phillies are sitting by and we all know they need a starter and they're either blind to it or they're just naive to it and they're not addressing it. They're clearly trying to address it. So if they know it's a hole, I highly, highly doubt you get nothing at 6 p.m. by 6 p.m. tonight.
Hell, even if it's not Malley, Syndergaard, or any of the names that we hear floating around, they will make a move. Whether it's even just a AAA starter that has major league experience starting, anything to give us, because honestly, if Falter doesn't work out, there is no other option even to bring up from AAA at this point. So they will find a way to add some kind of pitching depth if they can't land Syndergaard. I have zero doubt in my mind a move will be made today. It's just coming down to, what they're like. Honestly, I don't know who this 5th prospect is. He's not willing. If that's what it takes to get Syndergaard, send him. Especially if the Angels are going to pay a portion of that salary.
Yeah, maybe that's just you and I being, again, naive because we don't know who he is, and maybe that's not the smart idea. Right. But I'm with you in that regard. Like, I'm not trading one of the top 4. I at least know who the top 4 are. But you and I have had the discussion multiple times.
Painter, Abel, Ohapi. Who's the other one? You just said you knew the top 4.
No, you might be right. But I thought he gave up a list. I thought he gave out a list of 5.
He gave up a list of 5. So anyway, it's just going to show how unknown. There was a point in time back in the 08 run Phillies when all these prospects were untouchable, and we wouldn't trade any of them. Then we trade all of them. None of them worked out. But I knew the top 20, 25 Phillies prospects because we had a great farm system at that time. I knew who Lou Marson was, Luke Donald and Carlos Carrasco, the best of all the guys we traded. He had such a great career, But I can't name them now because they're just not worth it. No offense, Logan O'Hoppe. He's a good.
Again, the timeline doesn't fit unless you're moving on from JT in the near future.
Here's the thing with Logan O'Hoppe. I want to mention this, and everybody's hyped on him because now he's probably our third best prospect. Where was he last year? Nobody knew who Logan O'Hoppe was last year.
Yeah, I know.
He's kind of burst onto the scene as a prospect this year. Is it real? Do people really worry about trading a catching prospect that, honestly, what happened to what's his name? We traded to the Marlins. You know, what's he doing?
Alfaro?
Alfaro. He was an untouchable catching prospect. What's he doing in baseball right now?
That's the thing, Phil.
That whole package we gave to the Marlins for JT Realmuto. Sixto Sanchez, I don't even think he's got an arm anymore.
No, his arm is falling.
I think his arm was amputated at this point.
Yeah.
You know?
And Spencer Howard, remember when he was untouchable for years?
Howard. Yeah, Spencer Howard. He's a stud pitcher.
Right. Scott Kingery, remember when Scott? I know you were a Scotty Jetpacks guy.
He's actually playing really well in AAA.
Yeah.
If we cannot trade for a center fielder, I would not be adverse to cutting Odubel Herrera and bringing Scott Kingery up the platoon with Matt Vierling in center field.
Dear God.
He's hit almost to 300 in the last month and change.
But that's the point with prospects is you don't know how it's going to pan out. Even when they get to the big leagues.
Exactly.
Spencer Howard, he finally got up here. We were banging the drum for him to finally be one of the starters. Move on from Vince Velasquez. Move on from Nick Pivetta. Move on from Zach Eflin. Get Spencer Howard in this rotation. He couldn't throw past 4 2/3. But everyone knew he was untouchable. And then guess what? When you finally moved him, you couldn't get more than Kyle Gibson because you held on for too long. I'm not saying trade every top prospect you have, every good prospect you have. I'm not that stupid. But my point is to sit here and be like, we can't trade our top 6 because they might be, our number 5 might be something in 7 years, 6 years. Come on, man.
Prospects are just prospects, plain simple. Do the Phillies. So let's talk. Let's get off the trade deadline. Does it matter tonight's game whether they make a trade or not? Because we talked about the morale. It's a huge 2-game set against the Braves. We got to split this 2-game set. But we've got Nick Nelson in a bullpen start because Gibson's on the bereavement list. But this is the problem with the team. Like, how many bullpen starts are we going to have with this team? Because
this is what I'm not understanding.
That's why even getting AAA pitching depth is important in this deadline, because we've had so many games where we've had to have bullpen starts. Is there any magical way that this team can win this game with Nick Nelson starting?
Where there's a will, there's a way, Phil.
Mr. Positivity here.
They're going to lose tonight, though they have Wheeler on the bump tomorrow. It's an incredibly important start. I believe it's Wheeler versus Morton, who the Phillies have hit Charlie Morton very well this year. So that's my more positive game of the two. But like, my question to you is, we just spent 20 minutes. He was part of the conversation. What is Bailey Falter on this team for? What is he being called up, sent down for? Isn't it for this every 5th day?
Well, he's scheduled to start like 2 or 3 more days from now.
I'm confused. Where? Because 4. What's happening then? Because 4 of the 5 are in your rotation: Wheeler, Nola, Gibson, Suarez. And if you're starting Nelson tonight, this is the bullpen game where Falter should be. So what's happening?
Tonight was supposed to be Gibson, but he's on the bereavement list because he had, I think his grandfather or grandmother passed away, and they tried rearranging the schedule, like the starting rotation. They rearranged some of them to make up for it, so because he was going to miss 2 games, I think. Let me pull it up here. Falter is scheduled to start Thursday in Washington. So basically, it's because of the way the rotation went. They rearranged it a little bit, but they couldn't rearrange it enough to get Falter in this spot. I forget what game he started last. It would have been too soon. It would have been starting
against the Marlins.
He started against the Pirates too at some point. I think he started.
That's what I meant. The Pirates. Excuse me.
Yeah. So it would be starting. Would you rather start Nick Nelson in a bullpen game right now, or Falter on short rest, or Wheeler on short rest?
Yeah.
You could have bumped Wheeler up 1 spot to today, and then Falter 1 spot up till tomorrow. I mean,
what?
I guess
it's very weird. It's very weird to me how this all plays out. But
it is very interesting.
But it just makes Wheeler start tomorrow so damn important, because if you're running the bullpen game today, you have to imagine that Nick Nelson's not going past 3. He's just not.
But Nick Nelson has pitched well. He's done
Yeah.
times, and it's weird because 2 or 3 times ago they did a bullpen game like this. He started, he pitched really well for 2 or 3 innings, and then they went to the rest of the bullpen. And then the next bullpen game they went Sanchez. Sanchez struggled. Then Nick Nelson was the second guy and pitched pretty well in that situation. So I have actual confidence that he could actually do okay. And we talk about, we'll end it like this here. So we talk about the momentum of making a trade. If the Phillies go out and say today, get Noah Syndergaard, and maybe even go get another player or two, say get active today and make 2 or 3 trades, does that put a little bit of a jolt in the guys in the lineup? Look, front office, they got us the pieces we need, but we've got to hang down or hold down the fort today to get us to tomorrow. Hey, we got this. Is that jolt of momentum? Because we talked about earlier this year, the jolt from getting a new coach, the jolt you get from making a trade. Could that maybe be enough if they make a trade? Maybe they come out and win this bullpen game. Maybe the Braves take us too lightly today because it's Nick Nelson. You're being Mr. Positive. I'm trying to find a thread to have some positivity today for this Phillies team.
Listen, it's not impossible for them to win today. I don't foresee them taking both in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And Wheeler's on the mound versus Morton tomorrow. That's just how I see things playing out. But to this bullpen's credit, to Nick Nelson's credit, they have drastically turned things around over the last 2 months of this season.
Absolutely.
And they've been a lot better. The Phillies have not just been an automatic loss every single time they had to throw a bullpen game. Hell, we had to throw a bullpen game or have Falter or Christopher Sanchez pitching 2 out of every 5 starts not too long ago when Suarez was out as well. And they were able to still help the Phillies, gain ground and get into this playoff spot. So I'm not counting them out. It worries me because it's the Braves. It's in Atlanta. This could go very wrong today. And then guess what? If Wheeler doesn't go 7 or 8 strong tomorrow, you're in a tough situation if you have to throw Hand, Sir Anthony, Alvarado, any pair of those guys. You're in trouble because I'm not saying they won't pitch tomorrow, but if they had to pitch a lot tonight, they will be out tomorrow.
You'll see some roster moves made today to tomorrow just to get some fresh arms. Look, so just one final baseball thing. Barry Svalurga, I don't know, he's a Washington Post reporter, says it seems very likely that the Padres are going to be able to get Juan Soto today and possibly Josh Bell. That's another big move happening. Where are the Padres getting all their prospects? And the Padres make trade after trade after trade too. They've been going all in for 2 years and still haven't been able to, actually put anything together. So that'll be interesting there. All right, so I got the Phillies winning tonight. I do. I think the move that they make, because there will be a move made.
Can they pitch tonight?
What? Yeah, I know. Exactly. I wanted the trade to happen last night so that they could pitch tonight.
Yeah.
Rush everything and get them over here. I do feel the momentum saying. Now, I'm not going to say that they're going to win tomorrow because it's just typical Phillies. Win the bullpen game, lose the Zach Wheeler
start.
That's just the kind of way this season's been going. But we'll see how the game goes tonight. I got the Phillies winning tonight. I know you guys save your predictions for pregame show tonight at 6:30, but I got the Phillies actually winning tonight, 7-5. Just so you know, so I think the momentum is going to continue to carry over, and hell, it doesn't matter, but it does matter. Bryce Harper won't be long till he's back. Gene Segura, I think by Thursday will be back on this team and slot it right into that 2-hole where he belongs.
I think people are sleeping on how important it's going to be to get Gene back. It's not only getting your most consistent hitter, your contact hitter back. That means no more Munoz. It could mean no more Didi potentially. It could mean no more.
Do they get rid of Didi at some point today? And if they don't, do they have to DFA him at some point here? Because you get Segura back, what are you going to do with Stott? You cannot platoon Stott with Didi.
No, and that's something Girardi would do. I hope that's not something Thompson would decide to do. You already have Camargo, who can be that utility guy that can come off the bench. He's a better. Didi's glove has actually been okay, but he's a better glove for sure than Didi.
Really good plays.
The fact that Didi Gregorius has 1 freaking home run this year is a stat that's so absurd to me.
I can't. What's he hit, like 217? I don't understand how he's hit 217 because I think I've seen him have 3 hits all year. Like I don't think I've ever watched a Didi at bat this year outside of his 1 home run.
Mr. Mr. M. If he's in, we're either up by 19 or down by 11.
And even that's not enough.
No, but
they see, and somebody told me this a few days ago when I was bitching about. I've literally said it like 3 days in a row. Today is the day to DFA Familia. A lot of people are saying they're saving it because they're going to have to make a roster move when they make a trade, and that'll be the guy that they cut from the 40-man roster. But why wait? Just cut him now. Just
I don't even know, dude. To me, hell, I'd even leave him up here and not use him outside of the games we're down by 7 in the 8th inning. Like he's the guy that gets thrown out to eat innings like that.
Rob Thompson commented and said how much he does for the team behind the scenes. Well, make him a freaking bullpen coach then. I don't need him in my rotation.
Okay, Udonis Haslam.
Yeah, exactly. He's our Udonis Haslam. Yeah. Is he going to be on our team? He's 40 years old now.
Jesus.
Forget that. All right,
it's something I guess a manager just has to say, but come on, bro. Like you can't say that to this city. This city's not buying it. An Angels fan, you might be able to sell that to the Angels. Can't sell that to Philadelphia.
No, not at all. All right, we're gonna transition here. We spent the first half talking Phillies. Actually, a minute or two more. We're gonna change our screen to green here. There we go. We gotta talk Eagles now for a little bit here for the rest of the show because lots of topics. I don't know where. I'm gonna give you the option here, Dylan, as my man here, my number 2 today. Do we want to start with Jalen Reagor? Do we want to start with Dan Sileo? Do we want to start with something else? With my Jesse Bates getting bashed, for suggesting trading for him? Which direction do you want to start the Eagles part of the conversation with?
Hold on, I gotta send out my stupid quote tweet on John Clark. Hold on.
John Clark. What? Because of the Jalen Reagor?
No, because I am Jalen Reagor.
Jalen Reagor?
That's where we'll start.
Okay, Jalen Reagor. Look, so we spent yesterday.
This is what you do, bud. Ready? Take this, lock it, put it down. Yeah. Get off of it.
Yeah.
Delete the app. You could be on your phone. Delete the app. Get off Twitter. Get off Instagram. Just do it. That's all that needs to be done.
20 minutes talking about Miles Sanders, getting snippy with reporters yesterday because he sees what's going on social media. And then Jalen Reagor. What is it? He's going into his 3rd season as an Eagle. And this is about the 14th time where he's had issues with social media. John Clark.
Why?
Look, there are reporters with agendas, and even John Clark. Every reporter, hell, us as podcast content creators, we've got agendas. Everybody's got an agenda. They got a theory that they try to push. But John Clark doesn't really push it's not like the Dan Sileo comments that we're going to get into. John Clark is not like that. John Clark reported.
He dropped a pass.
He dropped the pass and he got out muscled on the sideline. What is wrong with that? What is wrong? It's not like it was a source told him. He was there, John Clark, and he watched it. It's not like the Jalen Hurts OTA practice that Dirk Gunn got from a source. This is the guy tweeting it. They're watching it.
Right. So the first part is does he think that does he think we're going to believe that John Clark didn't see that but just decided to tweet it out? He just decided to make up that he dropped a pass and got beat up on the sideline. Secondly, Jalen, maybe people would believe it if you didn't drop 2 game-winning touchdowns last year in New York. It's not something you did all the time. This is the problem, dude. You know why he can't get off social media? You know why it's been a problem since he got here? He's a first-round pick that he was never supposed to be. That's problem number 1. He hasn't lived up to it. And he can't shut his mouth. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sound rude here. This is not the shut up and dribble comment, but this is to just shut up and go to practice. Go get better. People do not.
I mean, his comment, bro. Y'all got to stop this cap.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
What are you saying?
Someone needs to quote tweet that with the ball hitting him in the effing face last year for the game-winning touchdown. I don't understand. Do you think that you didn't drop passes last year and we're going to believe that you didn't drop one in practice, dude? It really bothers me. Something Gint and I talked about on Faithful Fanatics last season when they were coming off of a bad season. And yeah, that's 100%. That was my point. He's a first-round pick in this city. Just stay off the phone, dude. So you could do that stuff with the Chargers.
First-round thing. Do you think any of it, if he would have gotten, whether it was drafted somewhere else, if he didn't have that first round tag next to his name, do you think we'd be a little less harsh on him? If he was drafted in the second or third round here or somewhere else, would he have a different, would people be more patient with him?
Yes.
I kind of feel bad for him to an extent because obviously he can't handle the criticism. He hasn't been able to handle the criticism since day one, but he was put in a position to fail by being drafted in a position he shouldn't have been, given a first round contract. Justin Jefferson going the next pick after him.
Right. That was an Eagles and that was a Howie mistake.
There's so much that has set him up for failure. And I kind of to an extent do feel bad for Jalen Reagor the person. But still, someone in his inner circle needs to be like, yo, give me your phone for the next 6 weeks. You can have it back, week 1 of the season.
Oh, you keep your phone. I'm changing your password. You're getting logged out of Twitter and Instagram. Like, Phil,
just deactivate
deactivate
the account and have it back and not lose anything.
He wiped his Instagram account clear at one point last year, right? And then I remember at one point I saw a post, so I clicked on his page. It's the only post he had. He put it up an hour before I went live. And Phil, it was a picture of the back of his jersey walking out of a tunnel. It just said his name and number, basically. And it was like just him calling out fans, like basically being like, no one's with you when you're down. Just wait till you're up and blah, blah, blah. Like the dumbest, corniest post you could imagine. Like, I agree with you. I feel bad for the person. I feel bad for the kid, right? But there's ways you can limit the target. And that is by stop doing what you're doing. I think Tyrone Johnson even commented on it. You're right. Like, if it was another reporter, maybe I get it. You have a problem with John Clark? Like, stop, dude. Like, his teammates got to be like, yo, you need to put it down.
Where are his teammates? Jalen Hurts is this leader. Or is he so disconnected from this team that does he even have anybody in the locker room?
People probably tell him. And George, we know he's not actually going to stay off, but it's just like, dude, like, if you can't shut up with the stupid ass comments and quote tweets and posts, then you do need to stay off of it. Like,
it makes a good point. Like, when is his teammates going to stand up for him? Or do his teammates just want him off the team so they don't have to deal with him? Because Jalen Hurts, the leader, should go to him and be like, yo, or A.J. Brown, the veteran superstar wide receiver, yo, I got criticized, too. You got to put it down. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you're painting a target on your back that's so big. Does Jalen Reagor make this team? If he's not traded, if you're another team, why would you trade? Why would you even give a 7th-round pick for this guy?
I don't think you're going to at the moment. Yeah, and KC.
Does he get cut? Because Howie Roseman's never cut a first-round pick before the start of the
season.
I know.
And I think this one is so far gone, Phil. I think this one's so far lost that I think even Howie realizes that there's no saving this pick, because where's the place for him? Even if you keep him on, what's his roster spot? The 5th wide receiver. If they keep 6, he's the 6th wide receiver. He's going to return punts. What's he going to do? Drop the punts? Like, just wait till he does that at Lincoln Financial Field. Or how about this? When he runs backwards for the 13th time this year, and the fans get on him.
A.J. Brown, Devontae
Smith,
Quez Watkins,
Zach Pascal.
That's 4. Greg Ward.
I would.
Reagor,
I know.
Yeah. I'm just naming. So Greg Ward, Reagor.
They still have John Hightower technically.
So, and I feel like I'm missing somebody.
Well, they have some of the younger kids.
I thought I was missing someone.
Isn't like
those 3 last. I think it was because I did this work last year before a show. I think it's 3 of the last 40, 2 or 3 or 3 or 4. Howie Roseman's come out of camp with only 5 wide receivers as the active 53. Mm-hmm. So that means there's only one spot for Ward, who everybody in the organization loves. Hightower, guy will he make it to the practice squad again or not? I don't know. Someone might pick him up. I don't know. Jalen Reagor. You got to think that Greg Ward's leadership, his cheap price tag, all that stuff combined, might give him the front, unless one of these young kids kind of, steps up. But is Greg Ward that much better than Jalen Reagor? And that's what concerns me. Like, if Howie Roseman comes down to it, I got to cut Greg Ward or Jalen Reagor. Does he cut Greg Ward to not give up on Jalen Reagor. And that really is concerning.
I'm keeping Jalen Reagor. Whoa. I'm keeping Greg Ward is what I meant to say. I'm cutting Jalen Reagor. That almost came out very wrong. And maybe it's stupid of me because the kid's only going into his third year. But again, I think he's so far lost. He's so far gone. He's so up here. And this stuff, again, he's gone through a lot of stuff off the field. Like, you do feel bad for the person. Just stop, limit the target, and it'll get easier. Because, dude, if he wasn't doing the stuff he was saying, sure, fans would boo now and then when he made a mistake, but they wouldn't be tearing into him. I remember I was at the Tampa Bay game last year, and I think he had a penalty, and then he ran backwards on a punt. And this is 2 days after he, made comments on social media and got snippy with the fans and reporters. Dude, they laid into him. And I don't think I don't think he can handle that. I really don't, because I don't think that he's not the person that makes better. Some guys eat that up. Some guys, it makes them better, and they take it and they work with it. I think it makes him worse. I think it just pushes him down lower and lower every time he gets booed.
There's a joke here somewhere. He's going to make it into the XFL.
Yeah.
They don't take troublesome. Look, Travis Fulgham was the leading receiver in the NFL for 4 weeks, but he's a head case. He didn't show it on social media, but obviously there are many reports of him being a problem in practice and off the field. He ain't even on a team. He's had Matthew Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, all these great quarterbacks he's worked with, and he can't even get on a roster. If Jalen Reagor gets cut, is there a scenario where no team even tries to pick? Has he fallen so far in the eyes? And also, he's so big in his head on who he is that he would take a practice squad job.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that if Eagles cut Jalen Reagor, he's so far gone?
I'm sorry.
That he is not on an NFL roster?
I get what George is saying, and I know he's going to have something to say for me after this comment.
Uh-oh.
But the upside, bro, is we're talking here. Whatever upside, and miss me with the... No, I get it. But if Jalen Reagor has upside, Phil, it's this effing much at this point. Miss me with he's only 23 years old. I don't care. He hasn't shown positivity. He hasn't shown. I have it with the Phillies right now. I don't have it, and I have it with the Eagles. Not with Jalen Reagor. Not with Jalen Reagor. And to Frederick's point about how they don't take in good, troublesome receivers anymore, that's a fact. You see what the NFL does. Teams and organizations will put their neck on the line for you if you're a star, if you can help them win, yada, yada, yada. Even if you're a bad problem. As sad as it is, they're not going to care what's happened to him off the field. They're not going to care if he has some mental lapses and some mental issues, right? Like getting over the booze and everything like that. Teams aren't going to care about all that stuff.
Hey, you're gonna hate me, Dylan. If it came down to Ward or Reagor, I'm cutting Greg Ward.
That's because you don't like Greg Ward.
I actually do like Greg Ward. It's just fun to bash on him and the fact that he can't get any separation. Greg Ward doesn't do much for this team.
I know that. You know what, Jay? Here's the problem, Phil. Here's the problem, right? Greg Ward doesn't do much. Greg Ward doesn't do negative stuff. No, Jalen Reagor is a negative at times.
He is, but it's just gonna happen, man. I just can't wait to see that final 53.
Well, it's always fun, right? I get it's always. We did last year with Jay Jaw and Greg Ward, and every year we're gonna argue over who the 5th wide receiver should be and who should go.
It's actually nice to be able to argue who the 5th wide receiver is going to be versus in years
who's
past,
number 1,
who's number 1 and who's number 2. I mean, because there was points last year we were talking about should Jalen Reagor start or be the slot guy. Now we're talking about whether he should make the team. At least we're at that point with this roster because we've upgraded so much. At least we're not doing 53-man roster predictions on this show. I know some networks that do like a new 53-man roster prediction show like every day of the week. So we'll wait for that one. All right. KC saying Hightower gets the 5th spot.
All right, well, let's even throw him into the conversation, right? If we're talking about youth and upside, John Hightower showed me more of a flash than Jalen Reagor ever has.
This is not.
No, I
agree with George. Me and George are on the same page with this.
Don't worry. You're gonna break that. You're gonna break that rope up soon with the connection between you two.
Absolutely, I'm gonna break that rope up soon.
Listen, no, and this isn't a pro Greg Ward statement. Like I'm not trying to keep Greg Ward. I just think if I'm choosing between one or the other, I'm taking the one that doesn't hurt you versus the one that's a net negative most of the times.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so real quick, I want to spend a few minutes talking about Dan Sileo coming out yesterday and talking, and look, I'm calling him out on it. Whatever, Jacob Media. We started the morning show, YouTube show. They copied. Just gonna say it. They weren't doing it until they saw us doing it. Now they're doing it, and because they got so many big names and they got all this money being advertising and whatnot. Whatever, we're the first and the better morning show here. But Dan Sileo's out there on Jacob Media saying that the Eagles aren't practicing hard enough, and they're going to start the season 2-4, or maybe even worse because of the way Nick Sirianni is leading practice. Dan, they've had 3 practices so far. All right, they're putting the pads on today finally. We are literally a half a week, 5 days into training camp. Well, okay, today's Tuesday, so we're a week into training camp now. Come on now. You're really going to tell me the first 3 practices easing this crew in is really enough information already to tell you that this team is going to start? I got the Eagles schedule up here, Dylan. It's a pretty decent start.
The Eagles are going 4-1 or 5-0.
How in the hell are they going to lose 4 of the Lions, Vikings, Commanders, Jaguars, Cardinals, minus DeAndre Hopkins, Cowboys out of those first 6 games? You're telling me they're going to lose 4 or 5 of those games? Get that. Jacob Media,
again,
Dan Sileo, another opportunity for a complete and total clickbait.
Yeah. This was the definition of, okay, I know I'm going on a Philadelphia station.
Oh, he does a regular
Philadelphia network
station now.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, in the afternoon or early evening.
I did not know that. I thought he was a guest. I thought he was a guest.
He's got I think it's 4 or 5 days a week he does his show. 2 hours long on their channel. I don't watch it, but this is the ultimate clickbait comment.
I don't even know where to begin.
Are they practicing too soft and too easy, Dylan?
No, not when it's day 3 or 4. And listen, do I agree? And I saw Sirianni's comments about how there will be no technically, what do you call it? Live practices. There will be no tackling to the ground.
No full tackling to the ground.
Right. No, they won't be taking them to the ground, which maybe week 1 or week 2, you see a missed tackle here and there. That doesn't mean you're going 2-4 to start the year. Right. So let me ask you a question. And I'm not saying tackling to the ground is going to cause injuries in training camp, right? It can cause injuries during the regular season once you get to week 1. My point is, would you rather have a higher percentage of getting most, if not all, of this roster healthy to week 1? Or would you rather them, which they've been tackling since they were 5 years old? I don't think they're just going to forget this offseason because they're not taking them to the ground in training camp. Or would you rather them have live tackling drills?
I brought that exact same point up yesterday or earlier this week.
What?
About saying, do you want them to get hurt now or in the regular season? You know what I mean? You want everybody healthy for the start of the season. I don't care. And I forget who it was. Someone tweeted at me that, they get hurt now or in the regular season. Exactly. You don't want them getting hurt now.
Right, so limit what you can limit.
Exposure to those injuries.
Yeah. You can't limit in the regular season. You can limit now. It's a clown statement. I'm going to call it what it is.
Total clown statement. I'm calling him out. He wants to come on here and tell me I'm an idiot. Yeah. He's not welcome.
Please do. We're idiots sometimes. We're not idiots on this one. And I mean, I haven't, I try to watch Inside Training Camp live here and there. They're not showing what teams are doing really. Are other teams on day 3 and 4 already tackling to the ground? Am I missing something? Are 31 other teams doing that?
Nick Sirianni isn't reinventing the wheel here. Nick Sirianni is part of the new age younger coaches. I'm not saying they do it, but like the Cliff Kingsburys, the Sean McVays, the young new generation of coaching staffs that are out there, this is the way they run their thing. And look, guess what? Sean McVay, new young coach. Well, he's not new anymore. He's been to 2 Super Bowls already. He's got a championship. The new age way of running things does work. Do the Rams win a Super Bowl last year if Aaron Donald gets hurt in the preseason and misses 10 games or the entire season? No. But they still won the Super Bowl. Beckham Jr. getting hurt and Robert Woods getting hurt in the season
What if Cooper Kupp? All right, so we're gonna tackle to the ground, right? What if Devontae Smith gets clipped on a crossing route and his leg gets taken out by accident, not on purpose, but someone falls and his leg gets taken out and he bends his knee in and he's out for 7 to 10 weeks? Yeah, that's great. I'm really
now
Jalen
Reagor's your starting wide receiver.
I'm really happy that we put together some live tackling drills, and I agree with George at the bottom. The schedule allows it, but my point to Sileo's comments is like, so all because they're not practicing for 2 hours and because they're not tackling to the ground, they're going to lose 4 of their first 6 games. Like, again, there's going to be a missed tackle here and there, I'm sure, in the secondary because they're a little rusty, a little slow out the gate, whatever. That does not mean they're going to lose the game because of 95 missed tackles and they can't take the running back to the turf. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, clown take. I had to address it. It really pissed me off saying it because
I saw it too, and I was like, this can't be real.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
I can't believe he's the host. I thought he was a guest. Like, I thought they asked him a question.
I forget. It's like the national football, NFL. He's got like a football named show that he does on there, pretty much regularly. And,
great.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Yeah. So, yes. Hold on. Back up the comment. You're still upset with me. I'm assuming that means Phil, not Pill. I am not upset with anybody. So let me backtrack, Dylan. So let me tell a little story here. We only got about 10 minutes left in the show, but let me tell a little story here. So yesterday, reports came out that Marcus Epps is impressing in camp so far, which is great. We've seen a couple reports that Kayvon Wallace seems to be taking steps forward. So yesterday I put out a tweet. I quote tweeted the Epps thing, and I said, this is great news, especially also if Kayvon Wallace. Look, our safeties are probably our weakest part on our team. If Epps and Wallace step forward enough, and we don't have to rely on Anthony Harris, who I am not a fan of. I don't think he's that good of a safety. That's a good thing. And then the bottom, I put a little quote, little parentheses, P.S. I still want Jesse Bates. It doesn't mean that I only care if Jesse Bates is the option. But the fact that people are not willing to trade, and George is one of them, and there's about a half a dozen others that were telling me they didn't want to make a trade for Jesse Bates. Why would you not want to take your one weakness on your biggest weakness at this point and upgrade it with maybe giving a second round pickup and a player like Andre Dillard, an extra player like Andre Dillard? And a lot of the arguments are because you need that second round pick if Hurts isn't the guy. Well, Hurts is the guy right now. You've got a chance to make a deep run in the NFC. If Hurts isn't the guy, losing 1 second round pick is not going to stop them from getting whoever the guy is. Howie everybody says Howie's the cap genius. Well, honestly, I think Howie's cap genius status is overblown to an extent. His ability to make trades is his number one asset. He traded up. Just look what he did last year in the draft to get Devontae Smith. All the wheeling and dealing he did. I have zero doubt that if we go get Jesse Bates and it costs us a second round pick, that if Hurts is not the guy, which there is still a chance that Jalen Hurts is not the guy. I know I'm a Hurts supporter, but there is a chance that he is not the guy. There is zero doubt in my mind that Howie would not be able to pull the trade off to get whoever is the guy. Whether it's trading somebody else on this team that's an extra player to pick up extra picks and whatnot. But baseball is totally different.
No, we just talked about trading. No. We talked about trading most of those prospects.
Yeah, we did. And they don't have enough prospects to trade right now.
So, okay. I'm trying to take the comments in as well.
Yeah, so am I.
I agree. I agree. You have to hedge on Hurts. George, you and I, we agree on that one. Yeah. But my question is, like, so he moved one of last year's first rounders into next year. They're going to have 2 first rounders this year, blah, 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 right?
They got extra second round picks all over the place.
Right. But my question is, like, unless something drastic happens on another team, on another storyline that we're not going to see yet, there aren't any pro-level franchise quarterbacks that you can move for next year. Like the Russell Wilson thing is gone. The Deshaun Watson thing, if you want them, is gone. Aaron Rodgers thing is gone. All that's gone. So unless something weird plays out this year, there's none of that really next year. And then you have the rookie class next year. If you're going to move up, you can swap your first give them the other first and throw something in to sparkle it up and move up to get your guy if that's the plan. I don't know what everyone thinks like the big hedging plan is supposed to be with all these picks accumulating next year. It's going to be for a rookie next year. There's nobody you're going to trade a bunch of assets for pro level now. That's my opinion.
I agree with that part 100%. Unless unless something drastic happens, all of a sudden maybe Las Vegas Raiders and Derek Carr get into a fight and he's available. But that's about and he's not on the Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers level anyway. So it's a different level.
Secondly, Epps could very well be a guy or the guy. And I'm not saying he was terrible last year. And I know there was rumors and reports coming out of the building that they're really in love with Epps. When I watched Marcus Epps with my own two eyes last year, I get he's still developing and growing. So take this with a grain of salt. But when I watched last year, I'm not exactly seeing what George and Casey are seeing. I hope I'm wrong if they don't make a move. Trust me, I hope I'm wrong and he is a guy. I didn't see the big upside here. Jesse Bates is potentially the best safety the Eagles would have had since Brian Dawkins.
Exactly.
You can argue Malcolm Jenkins.
No. I was hoping you said Malcolm Jenkins so I can argue no.
You can argue it, but Jesse Bates is going to do different stuff on the field that apart from what Malcolm Jenkins did, right? He's young. What's Jesse Bates? 24, 25 years old. If you go get him, you're getting him with an extension. So that's 4 or 5 years locking up that safety spot. And right now, I would say on paper, and I'm sure people will agree with me or disagree with me. I mean, I think they're right around a top 10 defense. Like, I think they're that talented. Right. They can crack top 10. If you go get Jesse Bates and fill that safety hole, I think you're a top 5, top 6 defense. I think that's it.
I think we're a top 3 defense if you bring in
potentially.
Again, so all these comments, what did we have to trade to move up?
No. Go down one. Go down one.
Whoa,
I'm not saying it's simple. I have no idea. My point is, like, this is why last season, and I preached this Phil, this past season when we talked together, was I not saying everyone was like, oh, well, he did enough for 2022? Clearly he did. But why was I saying how important it was for last year to know definitively if he is, because of the first rounds you had, because of the quarterbacks? Now, there are no NFL-ready quarterbacks available that we know of unless something weird happens. And you already hedged the one draft pick to next year, which is fine.
Who's draft pick next year that we've got?
It's the Saints, isn't it?
Saints. Okay, yeah, it's the Saints. Okay. Because I'm formulating a theory in my head once you're done talking and, to counter George.
Yeah, I have no idea how the board's going to fall, what quarterbacks they're going to like coming out. My point is, it's not like we're going to be basically restarting with a rookie quarterback if Hurts doesn't work out. So you have Hurts or a rookie going forward.
So here, listen to it. So it's all coming down to everything with Bates. And again, let me preface this again by saying I'm okay if Epps is taking a step forward going with him. But if you find out, because Jesse Bates is getting traded, and the longer it drags on, the cheaper he gets.
Right.
Because the Bengals need to move him at some point. Okay? There's no doubt about it. Okay? It all comes down to Hurts. That's what the reason why anybody doesn't want Bates is because of Hurts. All right, we've got the Saints. The Saints pick, they're a mid-level team at best. It's going to be about the 15th pick. If we make a deep run, it's because Hurts and this defense and everything else works out. So then we don't need that, then we're not trading for a quarterback. Right. If Hurts isn't the guy, we're going to have another 15th or 16th pick and 18th pick. So you're going to have, say, the 15th and the 18th pick. Those 2 picks, along with a future
get you inside the top 10
year, you take those 2 picks, 2023's first-round pick, one of those second-round picks. You take 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick. You're in the top 5 or 6. You're getting the quarterback of your choice. So I don't see if Hurts isn't the guy, then we still have plenty.
Yes, I'm okay if he takes Epps' spot.
Absolutely. Jesse
Bates is a top 10 safety at this point. I'm not banking on hoping that Marcus Epps is a guy. Yes, okay. But hold on. I think we can all agree here. Okay.
You said top 10. Casey's saying he's a top 5.
Yeah, exactly. So hold on. But I think Casey, George, I think we can agree if we separate the line here, Phil. So why? But why? Like,
This
why?
is the year of discovery. Timing is everything in sports. The timing for the Eagles is right now.
Hold
the
on.
NFC East is wide open for the Eagles to make a deep run at this point.
We're going to disagree with this part, but hold on. Let me see if I can get us to disagree here with a change of mind. So George says here, we have to conserve the picks, Phil.
Mhm.
So I say, if I will say I'm wrong, and I'll be kicking myself in the ass, Phil. If we move a piece for Jesse Bates now, Hurts doesn't turn out to be the guy, and it's a piece we need in the future next year for a quarterback. I will say I'm wrong. You'll say you're wrong. We'll kick ourselves in the ass. But will George kick himself in the ass and say he's wrong if you don't trade for Jesse Bates? Marcus Epps isn't a guy, and Jalen Hurts is the future of the future Eagles quarterback.
If it's the defense that holds this team back, not the offense.
And I'm sorry, I'm going to disagree with his second to last comment. Again, I'm not saying this is the time because of the unknown with the quarterback. But if the quarterback is better, right? Look at the roster. Like I'm not saying to pat myself on the back because someone nationally agrees with me. But I had Paul Hembo on my show the other day, and we broke down the Eagles roster, and he said he thinks they're a top 5 roster. I think they're probably at least a top 7, top 8 roster. So if the quarterback proves me wrong, Phil, then absolutely this is a year the Eagles can compete. Now that's a big if. It's a big if. And George, see, there we go. Now we're agreeing. I will certainly kick myself in the ass.
Knows, out of anybody, George knows that I have admitted I was wrong more than any other content creator out there. I'm always okay. Actually, I enjoy admitting I'm wrong because I know.
I hope I'm wrong with this shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, I got to wrap the show up here for the day. Got busy stuff at the shop today. We're going to pick up depending on what happens with the trade deadline in the Phillies game, we're going to continue this conversation because I think, Dylan, you're on tomorrow. Cole will be joining us tomorrow. There's a lot more. We can continue to dive into this. And I want to
Lamar Jackson?
To dive in. What's that?
Lamar Jackson, he put on some pounds.
Did he? What? Yeah.
Cole's coming on tomorrow.
Yeah, Cole's coming on tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. I said Lamar Jackson put on some pounds, so we can talk about that.
Exactly. Gotcha. Because I think there's a lot to unpack with the timing thing. And I really think timing is right now for the Eagles. So we'll pick this up tomorrow on Trending in the AM, right here on DSM Media. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, on replay, or now, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. We'd greatly appreciate it. We greatly appreciate everybody commenting and talking and interacting with us today. We'll be back, like I said, Dylan and Cole will be joining me tomorrow. Hopefully we got some big news with the trade deadline with the Phillies, and we'll continue this Eagles conversation tomorrow, right here on DSM Media. Guys, let's ring the bell. It's go Birds.
Ring the bell.
Go Phillies. Let's go, baby.